Back in March on poker's biggest stage, I turned a single tournament buy-in into over $680,000. It wasn't just a win, it was a life-changing score that put the entire poker world on notice. But a victory that big brings new pressure. Was it a fluke? A one-time miracle? Now, we're back to answer those questions. 6 events, 6 chances to prove the doubters wrong and once again, battle the greatest poker players on the planet. The mission, prove that lightning can strike twice. The prize, over $30 million in combined winnings. Our return to Triton starts now. I enter into the 3K Genesis, my first event of the trip. There should be over 1,000 players with $500,000 for first place, so even though this is my smallest buy-in of the series, the players should be more recreational and the stakes are still massive. I come in at the 4K, 8K, 8K blind level with a 250,000 starting stack, so just over 31 big blinds to work with. It's going to be crucial to double up and have a big stack early in order to make a deep run, and that's exactly what we have the opportunity to do in this first hand as I look down at King 8 of Hearts with an open in front of me. I decided to put in the call with King 8 of Hearts because I don't know who Dung is. A lot of these players in the field are more recreational. I'm hoping that's the case here. We're gonna go heads up in position with a chance to win a lot of chips. When the flop comes King 8-5 with 2 clubs, he bets out for 15,000 and I have top 2 pair. It's a dream situation. There's a lot of draws available, and when I just call him, I'm gonna have hands like 6-7 suited, pocket 8s, pocket 5s, King 8, and King 5, so I decided to spring the trap right now and raise it up to 50K. Dung puts in the call and we're off to the turn, which comes the Queen of Diamonds. I don't exactly love this card because he could easily have King Queen or pocket queens, but with 2 clubs out there and now 2 diamonds, I look down at my stack. I have 153K, which is just north of the size of the pot. If I had any bluffs here, I'd probably put maximum pressure on Dung, and so I decided to do it with my 2 pair, which has been relegated from top 2 to top and middle pair. I jam it all in for 153K, and he doesn't look excited. When you fade the snap call, you know you're good, so now I'm praying for a call. I want to double up my chip stack and have piles of chips to battle the rest of my table for the rest of the day. Eventually, he puts in the call and he turns over Ace-King offsuit with the King of Diamonds. I think he's got a call there. There's just way too many draws, and I'm loving life here. We need to fade only a few outs here, and the river card comes the 4 of clubs. Bang! We hold King 8 of Hearts, taking down a massive 458K pot straight out of the gate. We almost get a full double up. A weird spot develops here in hand number 2 when I open it up with King Queen offsuit from under the gun to 20K. It's a min raise and it folds around to Chon Chan in the small blind, who tosses out 2 chips totaling 30,000. The dealer announces it's a raise, but how is that possible? Wouldn't it have to be 40K? Well, actually he only has to raise the size of my raise. So with the 10K big blind, I made it 20K, so he only needs to go up to 30K, which is exactly what he did.
I really didn't see. Okay.
Yeah,
that's why you can do your...
if you did see, that's a weird raise size, but so I believe you.
It's an obvious misclick, and I'm going to take note of that. When the big blind folds, I put in the call, and we're going heads up to a flop in position versus an opponent who put in more chips than he really would have wanted. We get a beautiful flop when it comes Queen 7-4, and usually the pre-flop 3-better would continue on this board, but because he misclicked, he checks it over to me, and I'm going to pretend like he just called pre-flop and bet this hand for value for 20K.
You go for the min raise check.
No, not min raise. I didn't see you.
No, but it's legally, it's a min raise. You did min raise me.
It's a quarter the size of the pot. I don't need to go super large here because the board is dry, and Chon Chan puts in the call. The turn now comes the 9 of spades, and it checks to me for a second time. I decide to check back here to get tricky and try to get him to bluff on the river or call me light when I go for a bet. When the river comes the Jack of clubs, he checks it again. I bet out for Cinco de Mayo 55K, trying to get called light here by a 7, a 9, or maybe even a Jack, but instead he folds. But still 2 for 2 to start off my Triton series. No complaints over here.
Look at this thing. It's like I never left. I'm back in back in Jeju.
I'm from Chicago. Let's see if we can pull off our best Michael Jordan impersonation and go for the three-peat here with Jack 9 offsuit from the big blind. We get an under the gun raise to 20K, and Chon Chan puts in the call from the button. I decide to defend here for an additional 10,000 chips. Off to a flop, 3 ways we go. When the flop comes Jack 5 deuce with 2 spades, giving me top pair, we see the under the gun player bet out for 21K, and Chon Chan puts in the call. Action's on me. I checked it over to my opponents. We got a bet and a call in front of us. I could go for a check raise here, trying to get value from any worse jack or other pocket pairs like 8, 7, 6s, maybe some flush draws as well, but instead I just put in the call, and we're still 3 ways to the turn. The turn now pairs the middle card, bringing in the 5 of hearts. Under the gun checks, and the button bets out for 50K. Action's back over to me. I've played a pretty passive line up into this point, but at the same time, I'm just trying to hold on here with my top pair. At this point, it kind of feels like a bluff catcher. The button could easily have a hand like 5-6, 5-4 suited, or even ace-5. He also could have a spade draw here. That would make a lot of sense. When the under the gun player checks, he could take up the betting lead here and try to bully both of us off the pot. But I'm not going anywhere. Jack 9 offsuit is a made hand, and a good one at that. Heads up to the river we go, and it comes the 8 of hearts. Really shouldn't change too much, and I check it over to the button for a 3rd time. I'm really hoping for a check back, trying to take my Jack 9 off to showdown, but that's not what Chon Chan's gonna do. He fires out, and fires out big. 110,000 is the wager. The action's back over to me in a tough spot. You guys might be thinking it's a jack, Wolfgang, you gotta call. But a jack is just a bluff catcher. He's representing 3 of a kind, a set of deuces, or a better jack. Sure, he could have some missed straight draws or missed flush draws, but I don't see too many people bluffing in a 3K buy-in, so this really is a tough spot. But at the end of the day, I want to amass a large chip stack to bully my opponents and make a deep run for the vlog. I decide to put in the call, and my opponent sheepishly turns over his hand ace-4 of diamonds. He went for it on the turn with only a gutter and an overcard, and I put in the call there on the river, securing another massive 458K pot, which has our chip stack going in the right direction, and the three-peat has been accomplished. Bang! We then get word that after the break, we're getting moved to the secondary feature table. Unfortunately, because it's not the main feature table, we don't have any footage from these 2 major hands, but I get ace queen in versus king 9 all in pre and river a boat, and then get aces all in pre versus 9s and hold, so our chip stack is going in the right direction, up over 700K. We then pick up pocket kings off of a nearly 36 big blind stack. Under the gun makes it 40K to go, and I 3-bet him to 100. When it comes back around to Hoi Tian in the small blind, he rips it all in for 520K, nearly a 2x starting stack, but still only 25 big blinds, and of course I put in the call. This is a massive pot. I do have him covered, but if we win this, it's over 1.1 million or 56 big blinds. The flop, turn, and river are gonna be crucial here, and we need the poker gods and luck on our side in order to prevail. The flop comes ace 9-7 rainbow, the turn comes the jack of clubs, and the river isn't a queen, which means we have officially knocked out an opponent and increased our chip stack by a massive amount.
And my tank all the way down to 1 second was to get my camera guy to run over here and film because he couldn't find me. I almost used a time bank on a clear 3-bet.
It's been pretty smooth sailing up into this point, and I'm hoping it continues when I pick up pocket 10s from under the gun and min raise it up to 40K. Long puts in the call, Wei Tang puts in the call, and the action's around to Ding Biao in the small blind. If you guys aren't familiar with Yao Bing, let me catch you up to speed. He has nearly 19 million in total live earnings, which makes him 2nd all-time on the China money list. He's definitely a great player. He's a staple here at the Triton Super High Roller Series, and someone I gotta keep my eye on if I want to make it off this table. Sure enough, he jams his 255K stack in the middle, which comes out to around 12 big blinds. So even though it's a strong jam, it's not too big of a stack, and I'm definitely putting more chips in the middle. When I look to my left and see the stack sizes of my 2 opponents, they don't have much left behind, so I think I have one option here and put them all in. I put my entire 1.2 million chip stack in the middle. I have everyone covered. We get one fold, but then we get a call. We're going 3 ways to a flop with pocket tens. I'm hoping my opponents have 2 overcards. When the cards hit their backs, we see that we're in good shape versus Quen Tang's ace 10 offsuit, but Ding Biao has 1 pip higher, pocket jacks. We're drawing to just 1 out against him because Quen Tang has the 10 of clubs. The flop comes 6-4-3 all spades. We don't hit our 10, and not only that, Ding Biao has the jack high flush draw, so I can't even hit the last remaining 10 in the deck because it would give him a flush. The turn comes the 8 of clubs, the river, deuce of spades. Ding Biao triples up to 830k. Quen Tang is eliminated, and my chip stack goes down by around 255k. Oh my gosh. The blind levels have gone up again to 10k, 25k, 25k, which puts my 875k stack at around 35 big blinds. I'm healthy, but I have work to do. There's now 88 players left. 48 are gonna make the money. That's 16% of the 300 players that started off in this day. I look down at ace jack offsuit and raise it up to 50k, and we get 2 callers. The flop comes pretty groovy. Ace 8-6 rainbow, and the action checks over to me. I bet out for Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
35.
Cinco de Mayo.
Okay, so 35,000. So you put 35.
Cinco de Mayo, May 5th.
55.
Yeah, it's okay.
I was trying to think what.
I was being funny for the cameras, but I confused you. That's my bad.
This is the first time that this has happened, but when I said Cinco de Mayo, the dealer thought I meant 45k after explaining to him Cinco means 5, de Mayo is May, that's the 5th month of the year. You get the point. He finally honors my 55k bet when he initially thought it meant 45k. So after that funny mishap, we end up getting 1 caller. Oleg Ustonovich, a great player out of the small blind, puts in the call. In the turn comes the 4 of spades. He checks it over to me, and I could go for another bet here. I'd probably want to go half the size of the pot, or I could check behind, allow him to bluff, pick off some bluffs, and also go for thin value. That's what I decided to do. I check behind. The river comes the deuce of spades. Shouldn't change too much unless he has 3-5 or a backdoor spade flush draw. He checks. I bet big for 175k, trying to get called by a worse ace or maybe a pocket 10s, pocket 9, 8-9 type of hand. But unfortunately, after tanking for a little while, he ends up folding. So I don't get any extra value, but still, when chips are getting pushed in your direction, you do not complain one bit.
I was confused.
I don't know, that was stupid. All right, you guys, we are going to the TV table next. There are 61 players left, 48 make the money. I have around 1 million in my stack, which is 4 times a starting stack of 250k, so pretty excited about that. We only need 13 more people to bust to make it to day 2, end the day with AKhh. That would be my goal. Check me out on the feature table. Let's go.
Our break is over and we're back on the feature table, except this time I have the footage to prove it. I'm sitting in 4th place at my table with just under 1 million chips, good for 24 big blinds at the 20k, 40k blind level. Look who's in first, Ding Biao. After we had him on the ropes in that 3-way all-in, he's now spun his stack up to over 2 million chips, and we're gonna get active with him here at this table. Hold on to your seats. I decided to open it up to 80k from the +1 position with ace queen offsuit, and Oleg jams it all in for 125k. Action's back over to Ding with pocket deuces, and he looks like he's in a tough spot, but then eventually folds. I snap call. Oleg slams his cards down on the table, but he's drawing to just 3 outs. Ace 10 offsuit in pretty rough shape, just 24% chance to win. But then it's down to 2% on an ace queen 6 board. I flop top 2, and the turn card seals his fate. The 4 of spades is no good for him. The river's an inconsequential king, and we knock out another opponent and get some valuable chips to battle with Ding in this next hand. And now this hand gets crazy. There's 60 players left out of the 300 that started in this day 1A flight. And remember, only 48 are gonna make the money and advance to day 2. We're still at the 20k, 40k blind level, and I have 1.1 million, good for around 27 big blinds. Ding Biao opens a button to 80k, and the action folds around to me. Queen Jack of diamonds. What do you do here? Do you just call? Do you fold? No. no, that seems terrible. Or do you jam all in, putting maximum pressure on a splashy opponent capable of playing any 2 cards on the feature table? Well, we didn't fly 14 hours to Jeju, Korea to not play aggressive and try to make a deep run, so I go with option 3 and I jam my 27 bigs in the middle, hoping to get some king highs to fold, some 10 jacks to fold, some pocket 6s, 7s, 8s to maybe fold, but no, he snap calls me off with ace king offsuit, and just like that, we're playing a massive 2.34 million chip pot, and we're up in tough shape here versus ace king offsuit. The flop is our best chance to catch up, and sure enough, we hit the jack right on the flop, jack 4-4. Shout out to Robbie from the Hustler. We're now ahead with 2 pair. The turn comes the deuce of hearts, one-time dealer, no ace, no king. Can we do it? Yes, the 3 of spades peels off.
A huge double up there for Wolfgang, and that will shift the dynamics of the table as he will become the table chip leader.
I chip up to 2.3 million, first place at the table, and almost assuredly guaranteeing myself a spot in day 2 and locking up a profit. After getting revenge versus Ding Biao, the score is now 1-1 from that hand earlier, 10s versus jacks. And look at that, the bubble has burst. We're down to 48 players left, making it to day 2, and I'm trying to make a deep run.
All right, guys, we're coming back to day 2. 2,250,000 chips. I'm not the chip leader, but that's very good. That's almost 10x starting. I'm starting to love this place. Day 2, right now. All right, you guys, Wolfgang back for day 2. We have over 2 million chips. Average right now is around 700,000 or 13 big blinds. We got the glasses for the final table. We got the day 2 chain on, and of course, we got a little surprise for anyone who's trying to bluff me today and successfully does so. They're getting the middle finger, but let's get after it. Let's go.
Day 2 begins. I have just over 2.2 million chips at the 40K, 80K blind level, good for around 27 big blinds. I have more than average, but when I get to my table, I look to my left and see none other than Kristen Foxen. If you're not familiar with Kristen Foxen, she's one of the best players in any field that she enters, having amassed over $12.2 million and 8th all-time on the Canada money list. Not only that, she's 27th on the GPI index ranking, and it's gonna be a tough spot to be in with her on my left for the rest of the day. But things aren't gonna be too tough, at least not in this first hand, when I look down at one of the best hands in the game, ace king of hearts from the button, and make it 160K to go. The only problem, the chip leader at my table and of the entire tournament is in the big blind, and he defends with any 2 cards. At least that's what I'm thinking, and the flop comes jack 10-8 with 2 hearts. Pretty great situation. He checks it over to me. I have 2 overcards, a gut shot of Broadway, and the front door nut flush draw, so I think either a small bet here or a check back is in order. I decide to check behind here, allowing him to bluff or catch up on the turn, but it comes the jack of diamonds pairing the board. Not exactly the best card when you have a straight draw and a flush draw. You don't want a paired board, but when he checks it over to me, I now have another decision. Do I check behind? Do I bet? I decide to check here. I just have ace high, which beats some of his hands, and I kind of want to make my hand before I put more chips in the middle, especially against the chip leader of the tournament. The river card doesn't help us. It comes the 5 of spades, and now he bets out for 300K, around 75% the size of the pot. It's an interesting bet. It's large here. The jack is paired, and he checked it over to me on the turn. I don't think he has a jack. Maybe he has a 10 or an 8 going for value, but that seems a little bit ambitious. I think he would just check it over to me and get to showdown. So I get a little bit curious here with my ace high. I can still beat hands like king queen, king 9, king 7, some other random flush draws as well, or maybe some straight draws that bricked off on the river. So I put in the call, and unfortunately he turns over 2 cards that I didn't want to see. Jack 8 offsuit. Yes, he flopped two pair, checked the turn when he made a boat, and then bet out big on the river and got this fish to call him. I went for the hero call and it wasn't rewarded, but I still have a lot of chips to work with, so I gotta keep my head up and get into the next hand. Some play goes by and I finally get into a pot versus Kristen, but it doesn't go my way. She's just too good of a player. I'm not gonna float her with ace king high, but if she's getting my chips, she also has to open my gift.
Well, I actually got you a gift.
You did?
Yeah.
Is it not just for me?
It's for anyone who successfully beats me in a pot.
Fair. Okay.
The blind levels have gone up now to 50, 100, 100. I'm sitting on 1.5K or 15 big blinds, which is okay, but it's starting to get a little bit scary. But luckily for me, I look down at ace queen of spades and of course make it 200K to go. Tien Pham looks down at his cards in his stack. He realizes he has just 950K and jams all in. The action's back over to me, and of course I have to put in the call with ace queen of spades. I'm gonna be beating some of his king queen, king jack suited, ace jack, ace 10 suited, and we're flipping against all of his pairs. Unfortunately for us, we're up against one of the hands we didn't want to see, pocket kings. We're gonna need a flush, an ace, or a straight in order to beat him, and the flop comes jack 10-9 with two diamonds. I have the open-ended straight draw. If a king comes out, it'll give him a set, but it'll give me the nuts. Broadway, and bang, the king of hearts peels off on the turn. Hold, one-time dealer, no board pairing card. Can we do it?
I had hope.
No, the king of clubs. Not only do we lose to quads in the Triton 3K QQPK event. 2.15 million would have been my reward on any card that didn't pair the board, but instead the dealer pushes the chips in the opposite direction and leaves me absolutely crushed with just around 5 to 6 big blinds left to play with. With our chip stack decimated, it's time to make light of the situation. The +1, who's the chip leader, he's been the chip leader the entire day. He makes it 250K to go, and he's been very, very active. So when it folds around to me in the big blind, I haven't looked at my cards yet, and I decide to go all in blind.
Gamble?
Yes, sir.
I didn't look, okay?
Okay.
That means it's good luck.
I'm ready to call.
Please don't have a good hand, okay?
I have less than 5 big blinds. The stack just has to go in the middle regardless, so don't worry, you guys. I'm not just punting off thousands of dollars here. I put in the call, and we are going off to a run out. My opponent turns over jack 3, and we have it beat with queen deuce of hearts. We need to hold. I don't need him hitting a jack or a 3 in order to double up to 1.4 million, and that's exactly what happens. The board runs out clean. I now have over 10 big blinds, a pulse, and some life. Kristen gives me a smile. She's stoked I'm still here, and yeah, I share the exact same feeling. Let's go.
That's good for poker. Let's do it again, okay?
Blind levels are up again. I have just around 7 big blinds, but looking down at the pocket ochos, it's a great spot here to get my 1.1 million in the middle. You guys, if the blind levels are going up this fast, it's going to be a shit show. We got to get our chips in and hope to get lucky, and we do get called by an opponent after a pretty long decision. So I'm liking my odds here. Maybe he has an underpair, or if he has king queen, we're still ahead here. So hopefully he doesn't have 9s plus, and that's exactly what he doesn't have. He turns over 7s when everybody else folds. We're in a great spot here, nearly 80-20 to double up. Come on now, pocket 7s are my hand. They can't let me down. Surely not in this big of a spot, right? No, the flop comes queen 7-5. He hits a set, and I'm drawing to just 2 outs or a running straight. The turn comes a 3 of clubs, and now just 2 outs remain. But when the river comes a jack of diamonds, the opponent is gonna win it. Pocket 7s prevail over pocket 8s, and the Triton floor staff hovers behind me, ready to give me my place card and usher me out of the tournament.
Open it up.
It's gonna be a cloud. Can I keep it?
No.
I ended up busting out in 74th place out of 1,185 entrants. I cashed for $6,700, so a profit of $3,700 in just under 2 days of play. I'm feeling excited. I'm building some momentum for the rest of this series. We have massive buy-ins coming up, 10,000, 15,000, 25,000, and even finishing off the trip with a massive $30,000 buy-in that I have 100% of my own action. If you like this Triton video, there's a few more on your screen right now. Click one of those to keep on watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. And if you're interested in playing online poker in the US, click the link down below or go to clubwptgold.com using promo code Wolfgang for a bonus. Good luck on the feld, you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!